book is about monism, pantheism, teaching that you are God, that you are part of a cell in the mind of God. I mean, it's so anti-Christian as to be unbelievable. John Marks Templeton is a promoter of Lucius Trust, which is also known as Lucifer Publishing Company, the Theosophical Society. Okay, we all know about his involvement with the Parliament of World Religions, and it's something interesting. If you got the proceedings from the Parliament of World Religions that just took place in 1993, and you look at the list of the speakers simply list in all caps all of the Luciferian speakers. Lowercase letters for normal speakers, higher case for Luciferian speakers. Okay? But he paid for that. Okay? I will close there, and enjoyed speaking with you. Thank you. About John Marks Templeton, whose picture and advertisement for his book was on the back of Christianity Today. Now, we might wonder, why would a supporter of a Luciferian organization be on the back of Christianity Today? And we mentioned that at the proceedings of the Theosophical Society, they said that it was through the churches. And we're going to be looking at some more examples of through the churches. Now, John Marks Templeton is not only involved with Lucius Trust, he is on the board of the American Bible Society. This is called infiltration, ladies and gentlemen. If you get a King James edition from the American Bible Society, and you do a little collation, as I did in Romans chapter 1, I found that the American Bible Society had changed the King James Bible in 13 places in Romans chapter 1. The American Bible Society changing the King James Bible and putting King James on the cover. So there were changes of spelling, changes of punctuation. And so the infiltration is very thorough. Now, something interesting about Mr. Templeton. This is a picture of his cohort. And the gentleman goes by the name of Mobius. Isn't that interesting? We just looked at what the Mobius was, that it was a symbol for the serpent, 666. Mr. Templeton's cohort, his name is Mobius. Now, he also goes by the first name Mark. I think that's very interesting. Now, I suspect his name is really not Mark Mobius, okay? But that is what he uses, all right? Now, John Marks Templeton is one of the wealthiest men in the world. He's now 84 years old. But one of his funds, his investment funds, is called the Templeton Dragon. And so it's very easy to see, just in a simple advertisement in a paper for the Mobius Fund, which belongs to Mr. Templeton, what is going on here. Okay. Now, the Theosophical Society that we mentioned was started by Madame Blavatsky. I don't know if any of you have ever seen a picture of her, but those eyes on that woman are not the eyes of a human being. There's absolutely no question in my mind. And I wanted you to see what she looked like. There's a verse in the Old Testament that talks about someone's countenance revealing an awful lot about a person. And I think that that reveals an awful lot about that woman. But she started the Theosophical Society, and her two books, The Secret Doctrine 1 and The Secret Doctrine 2, are the Bibles for the New Age movement. Now, Remember we said it was going to come through the churches. Okay? This was Madame Blavatsky's newspaper. The name of the newspaper was Lucifer. Nothing like being up front with what you're all about. But you can see right there, it was published by H.B. Blavatsky and Annie Besant, the lady who had this symbol. Okay, now, I don't know if you can read this type, but I did want to put this up here to document what the front of her magazine says. It says, I, Jesus, right there, am the bright and morning star, Lucifer. Can you see that? I don't know if you can read that. You can all read that. Okay, now she's giving a reference here to 2 Peter and to Revelation 22. Now, does the Bible say that the bright morning star is Lucifer? Of course not. Okay, the King James Bible says in Isaiah 14:12 that Lucifer is the fallen angel. He's the son of the morning. He fell and he became Satan. Okay. Now, conversely, Peter and Revelation talk about Jesus Christ, who is the bright and morning star. There's nothing alike about them at all. Okay? But she is saying, I, Jesus, am Lucifer, the bright morning star. Now, this is back in the late 1800s. But remember, they said they were going to come in through the churches. Okay, this was their plan. Now, if we look in the New International Version today, where it says, I, Jesus, am the bright and morning star, that's somewhat correct. The King James says, I, Jesus, am the bright morning star there, Revelation 22:16. Okay, 2 Peter 1:19, the NIV says that Jesus is the morning star. And in the King James, he's the day star, so it's somewhat equivalent there. So they're correct in their reference to Jesus Christ there. However, in the NIV and also the NASB and other Bibles, they have omitted the name Lucifer from Isaiah 14:12. And they have substituted the name of Jesus Christ here, morning star. So it says, how have you fallen from heaven, morning star? So if someone ran morning star through an NIV concordance and wanted to see who is the morning star, they would conclude that Jesus Christ and the fallen angel Lucifer were one and the same person. And I had a student at Kent State University ask me that very thing, and that's what propelled me into my research on this course. He said, is Isaiah 14 about Jesus Christ, as the King James Bible says? Or excuse me, is Isaiah 14 about Lucifer, as the King James Bible says, or is it about Jesus? And I said, well, certainly it's the fall of Lucifer. And he said, oh, no, it's about Jesus Christ. And this young man had become very confused. And so pragmatically speaking, people are being confused by this. But this was precursed by Madame Blavatsky saying, I, Jesus, am the bright and morning star, Lucifer, over 100 years ago. Now, if you look in the Roman Catholic Latin Vulgate, and if you read it in Latin, in 2 Peter 1:19, it will say, et Lucifer oriator. When you translate that into English, it means Lucifer rising. So the Roman Catholic Latin Vulgate Bible has always said that Lucifer was Jesus Christ. Okay? Now, interesting. Lucifer, et Lucifer oriator in Latin, Lucifer rising. Remember we talked about Led Zeppelin? They're coming back up again. Led Zeppelin did the soundtrack for a movie by an underground filmmaker, and his name is Anger. For those of you who are art majors, you may have heard of him. He's a famous underground filmmaker. The name of that film was Lucifer Rising. The English translation of the Latin Vulgate, et Lucifer oriator. So they have Lucifer rising here. So they are going so far as to substitute Lucifer here as the morning star in 2 Peter. Okay. Now, if we look at the Hebrew text, if someone would question you and ask you, say, well, perhaps morning star is a better rendition there. I'll just give you a little bit of a background on that. Number one, the word star is not there at all in the Hebrew text. In Isaiah's scroll, in those 20 Dead Sea Scroll manuscripts, the word star, which is kokab in Hebrew, it doesn't appear at all. Now, God uses the word star in verse 13, following verse 12 when he's talking about something else. He uses the word